Welcome to another Like No Other broadcast from right here at Connection Point Church. This is the CPC Quarantine Comedy Special. That's right. We're going to do a little bit of stand-up comedy for you. We decided that what everybody really needs right now in their homes is, in the midst of all of this quarantine stuff, is you just need to laugh a little. And maybe just a little bit of comedy. And I can guarantee you one thing, that tonight that's what you're going to get. Very little laughter and very little comedy. But we're going to try our best. And I'm broadcasting right here from the Connection Point campus in our main sanctuary. And yes, it is still here. And it is still standing. And it is waiting for everybody to come back to church and where we can see each other again. So I just wanted to talk to you a little bit about all the stuff, this ridiculously absurd stuff going on in our world right now. Can you believe this? This is the absolute worst pandemic I have ever been in my life. Pandemic. Now there's a word. There's a word that up until a month ago, I never used that word, pandemic. I think maybe it was on a spelling test when I was in 7th grade or something. But I guarantee almost nobody used that word pandemic until a month ago. As a matter of fact, I got a feeling that a lot of people in these United States don't even know what a pandemic means. There's a lot of people that believes that it means pandemic, an epidemic of zombie pandas. That's right, pandemic. Sounds like an epidemic of pandas. But no, it's not. It's something worse than that. And this is just a crazy time in this world, right? It's a crazy time in this world that we live. A lot of you have probably are quarantined at home. You've not been able to get out. You've not gone to town. You've been locked up and shut away. And I know what's happening is a lot of you, you're sleeping late and you're wearing your jammies all day long, aren't you? I know you are. You know, Finally, a lifestyle that I can fit into, right? This is a lifestyle I can live. Sleeping late, wearing your jammies all day long. When I was a kid, I told my dad. My dad used to get on to me. He said, you sleep late every day and you wear your pajamas until noon. And I told him one day, people like me were going to rule the world. Now is our time. This is our chance, people. That we can wear our pajamas all day long and sleep late. And we're going to rule the world during this pandemic. But I know what's happening. A lot of you are saving money. You're saving a lot of money right now. A lot of you are saving money on things like laundry detergent, water use, deodorant, makeup. I know some of you have been saving quite a bit of money on that kind of stuff because I've noticed. I've seen you out in your yards. Now, me, I've also been quarantined. I've also been self-isolating. New word out there today. Been self-isolating. But the problem is that when we moved from the old church into the new church just a few months ago, my office at the old church came with me to my house. So basically, I'm quarantined at work. Now, a lot of you've been quarantined, and I know you're in your homes and you spend your time laying on the couch and just staying by yourself. You know, some people can't handle being by themselves too well. Now, I figured, all right, I can handle this quarantine. I can handle it because I could so be a hermit. I figured I can handle this being at home and being alone, and this is not going to be any problem. But, you know, right after this quarantine thing happened, my cell phone went out. I didn't have a phone for a week and a half. Couldn't call anybody. And then my computer messed up. I needed somebody to work on my computer. Now I've got to wait on that. And then just last week I broke a tooth. So now I'm waiting on a dentist. Who knew I needed so many people in my life? And my dog, he's already needing his nails clipped. I can't even shake hands with him without ripping my veins out. Who knew? Who knew we needed each other so badly, huh? But I know what's happening. A lot of you are, some of you are home because you've been furloughed. Some of you have been laid off from your job. Some of you have lost a job. And now you're home, and it's isolation is mind-numbing. And in some cases, it's nauseating. And if you listen to the news all the time, you're probably going to be dizzy and lightheaded. Just listen to all the statistics of everything that's going on and worrying about everything. And I know that now here you are unemployed, laying on the couch, and waiting on a check from the government. But hey, what do you expect from a disease that is named after a beer? Right? Corona. Just a few months ago to say the phrase, yeah, I got the corona, that had a totally different meaning a few months ago. Know what I mean? But I know that, the word corona, you probably didn't know, but the word corona actually means, it comes from the Latin word crown. Latin word crown. Did you know? Have you seen that little picture of that little germ that they show all the time? A little round germ. It's got these little things sticking up out of it. Those are crowns, and that's why they call it the corona. I guess it all makes sense, seeing as how it's been a royal pain to most of us, right? But I tell you, if you are home right now, and you've been quarantined and you've been stuck on the couch, well, congratulations, because that just simply means that you have been declared a non-essential. Isn't that great? A non-essential. Is that anything like a deplorable? I'm just asking for a friend. Yeah, a non-essential. And who would have ever thought in our lifetime that the real essential people were not the CEOs or the titans of industry that we thought? No, the essential people in our lifetime are the teenagers who are working at McDonald's. Now, I can see that if you are a parent of a teenager, that it probably is essential for you to get them out of the house and go make some money. But do you remember, and it hasn't been just that long ago, but do you remember that the greatest virus that we were all most afraid of was the one that attacked our computers? And do you remember not that long ago that how much you hated being around people who were negative all the time? Who knew? Now that's a good thing. Yeah, non-essential workers. Those who are staying at home are considered non-essential. You are non-essential. Not only do we have a virus that attacks our body, but it also attacks our self-esteem. There's been a lot of changes that we've had to make, and especially right here at church. Y'all know how many changes that we've had to make here at church just to accommodate this whole situation. And there, we'll probably have to make more. I would imagine that there'll be more changes yet to come. And, we've already had to go everything online. All the sermons and stuff are online. But now let me tell you, I'm not real sure that it qualifies as worship if you've got Pastor Chris turned on to your computer while you're vacuuming your house at the same time. Okay, I'm just saying. You might want to just pay attention to the one thing, okay? But we've already got the drive-through prayer. Do you know about that? Do you know about the drive-through prayer? Did you know that on Sunday morning after you have listened to Pastor Chris, if you feel a need for prayer, you can actually drive up right here in front of the church, and we've got pastors and prayer workers who will come out, and they will pray over your car. And you can come and you can just stay inside, roll down your window maybe a little bit. You can tell what your prayer request is, and they will lay hands on your car and they will pray. That's right. We've already had 2 Hondas healed and a Pontiac that's been anointed with oil. It was a quart low. And there's some churches. Have you heard about the churches that's been doing the drive-in church? Now that's really creative. That's pretty creative. That's really neat. Uh, and we might want to make some adjustments similar to that. Did you know that the Sunday after Easter we were supposed to have baptisms? And you know how big baptisms are here. So I know Pastor Chris cannot wait until we have the baptisms again. Well, I've got an idea. If we can't soon come and have regular baptism, I'm thinking we do drive-through baptism. Huh? What do you think of that? Drive-through baptism. I can see us. You want to be baptized, you just pull your car up, roll down your window, and we take a water hose. We can baptize your entire family in just a few seconds. I think that would work. Or I tell you, another thing that we could do is maybe dig a pool. I could see us dig a great big pool, and you just kind of drive your car right down into the water. Now, we have to make sure that the top of the car gets covered, though, because, we do baptize by immersion here. Now, we do that because we take it from the word baptism. The word baptism comes from the original Greek word baptizo, which means hold them under till they bubble. So we got to make sure that your windows are rolled down as you pull down. But once the bubbles are done coming up, you can go ahead and drive your car right back out. And then if we had some deacons that would show up with a little bit of soapy water, a little bit of soap and rag and a dry cloth, we could do baptism car washes. And I'll bet nobody around is doing that. Baptisms and car washes all together as one. I do have a feeling, though, that after all of this stuff is over, after we've all come back, there's probably going to be some churches who are going to change a little bit. I think there's going to be one of the old hymns that's going to be really popular when we come back. When the roll is called up yonder. Now, I know that sounds like really, really old-fashioned, but I tell you, when the roll is called up yonder has got a whole new meaning anymore. Who would have thought in our day and age that hand sanitizer and toilet paper would be the gold and silver for our generation? Who would have thought that those things would be worth something in today's age, right? I know I should have invested a whole lot more in them. I used to wonder, if my house ever caught on fire, what are the things that I would grab? Right? What are the things that I would take that were most precious to me? I used to think, okay, probably my dog and probably some photo albums and maybe my guitar, right? Not that I play, but it's real good conversation. It's a conversation starter. Anyway, but now, my whole priority has changed. If my house caught on fire today, I would probably grab the eggs, the milk, and the Charmin. Right? Those things seem to be the most important. Now, don't get me wrong, we're making light of everything, and I understand that this is a terrible, terrible virus, and I know that all the deaths and the sickness, that's all tragedy. That's bad. But outside of the realm of that, okay, outside of the realm of that we know is horrible and bad, I think the saddest news, the saddest thing that I heard on TV was a few weeks ago. Did you hear a few weeks ago? I think it was in Texas. There was a semi-truck loaded with toilet paper that caught on fire. And the news reporter who was reading the news report, that's why she's a news reporter, she actually said on the air, "Oh, say it isn't so." That's how bad it's been. And I realize now that I really, before all this got started, I should have invested in at least a couple of chickens, probably a milking cow. I should have made many more friends that work at Procter & Gamble. And I probably should have subscribed to a whole lot more magazines. Now, if you're young and you don't understand why that's funny, you really need to just ask somebody older than you to explain that. I just tell the jokes. I don't explain them, okay? If you laugh, you laugh. But I don't know about you, but this has been, this whole coronavirus thing, has been so totally confusing to me. The news reports that you get is all confusing. Okay, like first of all, in the very beginning, they called it coronavirus. And then all of a sudden, voila, everybody starts calling it COVID-19. Okay, when did it change names? Is this something that from the deep state or something that's going on that I don't know about? I'm sure there's probably some medical terminology for why that all got changed, but from a layman's perspective, I don't trust any disease that changes names midstream. And then at first they were telling you, okay, there are 3 symptoms: fever, sore throat, and being tired. And they said, if you don't have all 3 of those, don't worry about it. You don't have the disease. However, there are people who have the disease and they don't know it because they are asymptomatic. How much sense does that make? And then they said, if you think you have the disease, stay home. Don't go out and infect everybody. Next thing I hear, everybody stay home. Apparently, we cannot trust those who have the disease to keep it within their own house. So now we all got to stay home. And then they said, don't worry about wearing a mask, because if you don't have the disease, the mask is not going to keep you from getting it. But if you do have the disease, a mask will keep you from giving it to other people. And then they said, everybody wear a mask, because at least it looks like you're trying. I don't know, this whole thing has been so confusing to me. And now they tell us not to worry because they're working on a vaccine that should be ready in a year after it's all over with. It's been very confusing. But I've had a lot of time to sit and think and contemplate everything. And so actually, I wrote a poem about this whole thing that I'd like to share with you. I'll have to read it off because, I just wrote it. Didn't have time to memorize it. So I just want to read this to you. Here I sit, all alone. I sit alone, self-isolating. It's hot today. That's nice. So I sit alone, isolating under an oscillating fan. I'm thinking today. I think about stuff. So I'm cogitating while isolating under an oscillating fan. I sit in one room for a while and then I go sit in another. I'm alternating while cogitating, while isolating under an oscillating fan. At the same time, I'm preparing my meal for supper. I'm marinating while I am alternating and cogitating, all the while isolating under an oscillating fan. Can't go anywhere. I'm stuck at home. It's so frustrating. Only marinating while alternating and cogitating while I'm isolating under an oscillating fan. I read a book today, so I'm educating while frustrating about marinating and alternating and cogitating while I'm isolating under an oscillating fan. The book made me think, even more than I was before. So now I'm contemplating. All the while I am frustrating, but I am educating about the thoughts as I am marinating and alternating while cogitating, while isolating under an oscillating fan. The book I read was the Bible, and it says that there is hope. So now I'm celebrating. I am celebrating while I am contemplating the frustrating, while I'm educating, and as I am marinating and alternating, and I am cogitating while I am isolating under an oscillating fan. So I wrote this poem because I want you to have that same hope too. So now I'm annotating. While I'm celebrating the frustrating, while educating, as I'm marinating and alternating, while cogitating, while I'm isolating under an oscillating fan. So Christians, let us advocate and loudly resonate while we celebrate. When we contemplate these things that frustrate, though we educate as we marinate and alternate, let us cognitate as we isolate under the fan that oscillates. Thank you. Well, I hope that there's been something here that's made you laugh just a little bit. Kind of hard to tell. Hopefully you'll post your laughter and you'll post any applause after this is over. But, I just want to remind you that in times like these, the Bible tells us that the joy of the Lord is our strength. And we're reminded that laughter is like a good medicine. Sometimes we have to choose to be happy, and we have to choose to find the joy in the situation. The joy of the Lord is our strength, and that joy doesn't come from within us. It doesn't come from us, but it's the joy of the Lord that is in us. It is His joy. Because we have hope in Him, that's where the joy comes from. I'm reminded in the scripture that there are times, and Solomon told us that there's a time for everything. There's a time to laugh and there's a time to cry. And I'm reminded in Genesis that when Sarah was told that she was going to have a baby at 90 years old, she laughed. In fact, the word Isaac means laughter. Because there are times in our life when you've either got to laugh or cry. So hopefully we've given you something tonight to just kind of laugh about just a little bit. And we just hope that the joy of the Lord will be your strength. His joy is our strength, and His joy is our medicine. So I wish you all well, and keep smiling. Even during the pandemic, keep smiling, because He is your medicine. And we'll see you soon at Connection Point Church.